So we are moving into 5.8, which is parallel and perpendicular lines. Before we get started though, I would like you to take the 2 points, 2, 5, and 4, -1, and write these in all three forms. So that would be standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. That would probably be the last form you'll write it in. The slope-intercept form or y-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, and then the point slope form. And you're probably going to want to do this one first, this one second, and this one third. Go ahead and hit pause, and when you're done, come on back. So the first step here would have been to find slope. 5 minus -1 is 6, and 2 minus 4 is -2. Therefore, your slope is -3. Once you have your slope, you can pick either point. I'm going to pick 2, 5 because there's no negatives there. So -3 times x minus 2 equals y minus 5. That is a minus. Point slope is done. To get this to y equals mx plus b, you would distribute. And then you would bring the 5 over through addition. So y equals -3x plus 11. And to get this to standard form, which we haven't done a whole heck of a lot of yet, you just want the x's and the y's on the same side, so we would add 3x. The one little thing about standard form, which again we haven't done a lot of, is that you would like the coefficient of x to be positive and not a fraction. So, parallel lines mean you have the exact same slope, and perpendicular lines means your slope is the opposite reciprocal. So we'll put same slope, and this slope is the opposite reciprocal. For example, if your slope was -1/5, the perpendicular slope would be +5. These are opposite reciprocals. 5 is the same as 5/1. Okay, hold that thought. I'm going to give you a list of equations, and I want you to tell me which ones are parallel. So y equals 5/3 x minus 2, y equals x, y equals 5/3 x plus 4, and y equals x plus 1. So hopefully you're thinking this is a slope of 1 because it's a solo x, so these two are parallel. By parallel, I mean that one of them would have started at 0 and one of them would have started at 1. Since they have the exact same slope, they would never touch and never cross. Gorgeous. These are also parallel. They have the exact same slope of 5/3. It would look very similar, parallel lines never crossing. So that was easy because all of the equations were in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. I'm going to give you 4 more equations. This time they're going to be in a few different forms. So y equals 2x minus 3, y equals -2/3 x plus 3, 2x plus 3y equals 8, and y plus 1 equals 3 times x minus 3. Okay, first one has a slope of 2. Second one has a slope of 2/3. Third one, to get the slope, you need the y alone. So you would subtract the 2x from both sides. So 3y equals negative 2x plus 8. Then you would divide by 3, 2/3 x, plus you can go ahead and leave that as 8/3. So right now we have these two parallel lines because this is a negative even though the pen is like lagging, and that's a negative. Now on the very last one, to get the y equals mx plus b form to be able to compare it, you would need to distribute. And then you would need to get the y alone. So subtract 1 from both sides. So y equals 3x minus 4. This is not parallel to anything. So this is a slope of 2, and this is a slope of 3. So we only have one side of parallelism there. So perpendicular, opposite reciprocal. I'm going to give you a whole list of equations again. So y minus 6 equals 5 times x plus 4. X equals 3. And y equals negative 1/5 x plus 2. And y equals negative 4. Okay, 4 equations, somewhat readable. Figuring out perpendicular. Remember, perpendicular is the opposite reciprocal. So if you had something like 2/3, the opposite reciprocal, you would flip it for the reciprocal, and you would change the sign for the opposite. If you were to graph those two lines, the positive one would be nice and flat going this way, the negative one's a little steeper. They are hitting at a 90-degree angle. They have one intersection point. That's perpendicular lines. So we're just looking to see what the slope is, but to know what the slope is, we need to solve for y. So in the first problem, we would have y minus 6 equals 5x plus 20, and then you would need to add 6. So y equals 5x plus 26. So if you can't remember how to graph x equals 3, x is always 3. And y is any number at all. You could put 0, 1, 2, 3. You could put any number. So to graph that, you would go over 3, up 0, over 3, up 1, over 3, up 2, and so on. That's a vertical line. Vertical lines have no slope. The slope does not exist. While we're on this thought, let's look down here at the y equals negative 4. Hopefully you're remembering that that's a horizontal line. If you don't, you could make another table, making all of your y's a negative 4 and your x's any number. So a graph of that would be over 0, down 4, over 1, down 4, over 2, down 4. This is a horizontal line. You could also think of this as y equals 0m minus 4. So this slope is 0. So the only one we don't have, we have no matches yet, is y equals negative 1/5. So let's see. A slope of 5 and a slope of 1/5, would those be perpendicular, opposite reciprocals? Yes. So these are perpendicular. Now this is excellent and very cool because a slope of 0 and this one's a slope of 0 and a slope of no slope are also the same because meaning perpendicular, because 0 over 1 is perpendicular to negative 1 over 0 because that is no slope. If you think about it, a horizontal line and a vertical line will hit at a 90-degree angle. So this is also a pair. Both things are matched up. So I'm going to give you a little problem, and you have a line, y equals 2x minus 5, and a point, 2, negative 1, and go ahead and write an equation that is perpendicular to this and parallel to this through the point 2, negative 1. So if you think you know how to do it, hit pause. If you don't know how to do it, to write the perpendicular one, your slope would have to be the opposite reciprocal of 2, which is negative 1/2. And then through the point 2, negative 1, you could go ahead and write your m negative 1/2 times x minus 2 equals y plus 1. That's it. Doesn't say what form, so you're done. And for the parallel line, your slope is 2. It's the same slope because it's parallel. Through the point 2, negative 1, that would just be 2 times x minus 2. This 2 is what's going here. The slope of 2 is what's going there. Equals y plus 1. So this is your parallel line because it's the same slope. One more problem like that. The equation is 3x plus 8 and the point is 10. So go ahead and write the parallel line and the perpendicular line through the point 10. Hit pause. And now that you've come back fully excited about your answer, the parallel line to this would have a slope of 3. So your equation is 3 times x minus 4 equals y minus 10. And the perpendicular line would have a slope of the opposite reciprocal, which is negative 1/3. So that would be negative 1/3 times x minus 4 equals y minus 10. Brilliant. Great lesson. Have a lovely evening.